want to go down the conspiracy rabbit hole, there's no point even talking about this because it's like one person is saying that the Earth is round and somebody else is saying the Earth is flat.
Like, you call it a conspiracy theory, which it is, but like half the country believes in this shit. Yeah, it's so crazy too how they bounce between so many things. There was no violence. The police let them in. We saw Tucker Carlson's video. Nothing was violent about it. It was a peaceful protest. Okay, yeah, well, it was also a super violent insurrection, but it was started by the feds. It was a feds insurrection, or Antifa, actually. It was an Antifa insurrection. The federal agents on the ground and Antifa started a violent insurrection. But also, there were no guns there, right? Remember, there wasn't a single gun. So it actually wasn't violent. There were no guns there whatsoever. It wasn't violent at all. Like, you saw the cops letting them in. There were no guns anywhere. But also, Antifa and the feds started a violent insurrection. But only one person died. So there wasn't even, like, it's just, it's living in all worlds at all points in time. There's not even an attempt to be truthful, right? These are just emotions, right, that are coming out. Yeah, it's just like, how do I feel about this thing? And no matter what, I feel like Donald Trump wasn't wrong in anything. I don't know what happened. Don't care what happened. But Donald Trump definitely wasn't the bad guy there.
There's no point in debating.
All right, don't talk at once.
You're a flat
Don't talk at once.
earther.
Although I would say, Julie, hang on. I would say, Julie, if we're going to go down conspiracy routes, I do remember a 2-year conspiracy being peddled by almost everyone in the American media that Trump had the election fixed by his collusion with Vladimir Putin, which turned out to be horseshit.
That's right.
Turned out to be horseshit. Donald Trump impeded that investigation 50 million different ways. We know that Stone was indicted for communicating directly with Russia. We know that Stone didn't cooperate with any of the investigation. He told everybody to fuck off. He got convicted for it, and then Trump pardoned him. We have no idea where that investigation would have gone to because Donald Trump was trying to impede that investigation at every step. He did it with Jeff Sessions when he got ass pain for Jeff Sessions for recusing himself and not rigging a file. We know when he fired Comey, that was the whole reason why Mueller was appointed as a special investigator, is because Donald Trump fired fucking Comey for not halting the investigation. So, like, who knows where it would have gone to? We will never know. We'll never know. You want to know what definitely didn't turn up anything, though? The Hillary Clinton email shit, the Hillary Clinton Benghazi shit. Nothing fucking came of that, but we don't hear about that for some reason. At least the Russiagate investigation turned out good indictments about Russian misinformation, which it did, involving the Internet Research Agency, and it made money because we got to see some of the bullshit that Manafort had that he was lying about that he'd gotten from Ukraine. So at least it was profitable and we got something from it, more than we got from any of these fucking dog shit investigations that Republicans have wasted how much taxpayer money, time, and news coverage over.
So, it does depend which conspiracy theory you want to hitch
Is
your
that in
home
relation
to
to Robert Mueller's investigation?
I don't recall ever saying that Vladimir Putin and Donald Trump colluded to steal the election. So,
and like, look at how much ground you have to cover here. Like how far we're running, and like we can just, because the Republicans have done so well at instantiating so many bullshit lies into the media landscape that with just a single word or phrase, you can bring up so much of this shit that now you have to fight so hard to even begin to claw back like any amount of truth.
Let's not say that everybody
a lot of people did.
I will say to you,
and the media did fuel that bullshit for 2 years.
Okay, but you're asking me to debate, but Piers, you're asking right now for me to debate somebody who thinks that January 6th was a peaceful protest that got out of hand because the FBI set up these poor MAGA people to go beat up cops.
Yeah, it was.
I mean,
Wait, it was? So it was peaceful, or there were cops on the ground inciting it? Which one was it? How are we in both worlds here?
We're gonna have that kind of conversation.
They did.
If we're gonna have that kind of conversation, stop screaming in my ear, please. If we're gonna have that kind of conversation,
hang on.
Debating the Earth is flat.
Why did they not want the National Guard there?
Just for the record.
Why did Stephen Son, the chief of Capitol Police,
National
say
Guard,
that they were requesting help, and she denied it? She's on camera. You're delusional, okay?
If you're
I actually thought.
I'm not interested.
Hang on. I actually thought the most interesting point that Trump made in relation to all that was the different double standard. I thought what happened on January 6th was appalling, and I think that a lot of people pay.
How do you fight against this? It's control of the media environment. Piers is allowing this to go on as it is, right? None of these people are ever held to account for a particular opinion. The only people who are being pushed on here, right, to flesh out every part of their opinion are the two liberals. And they're being pushed and pushed and pushed to like flesh out and justify and walk through everything, while these two guys on the side can scream and shout like animals, and Piers can continue to just like needle this side. But like, I mean, yeah, like you're never winning in an environment like this is basically impossible. You just have to find like snappy things to say, and that's basically it.
Behaved extremely badly, and a lot of them should have gone to prison, which they did. I think maybe it was overdone, and some of them got ridiculously long sentences. But I thought the point that Trump made about the hypocrisy.
Which ones? Who got ridiculously long sentences? Undeserved, ridiculously long? Which ones?
and double standard of how, for example, the BLM rioters were treated with the devastating damage that they caused, I thought it was a very good point. And I think, again...
Wait, you know that people were arrested for stuff like that, right? Wasn't it over like 10,000? How many arrests were there? How many arrests over entire BLM period? June 22nd, 2020, police had made 14,000 arrests in 49 cities since the protests began. What is the comparison here? What do we even...
And double standard of how, for example, the BLM rioters were treated with the devastating damage that they caused, I thought it was a very good point. And I think, again...
What's the good point? What's the point?
It comes back to the hypocrisy, right? Democrats cheered on the BLM rioters. That was all in the cause of tackling racism. But here you have people who believe they were standing up for democracy.
The difference is... How many of the Democrats, first of all, the Democrats had to disavow that to win their election, right? Biden and Kamala had to come out and say, we disavow the rioters to win their election. Donald Trump and the Republicans still celebrate January 6th. Or, well, they celebrate it, and then they also say they didn't do it at the same time. So there's already a huge difference right there between the two sides, number one. Number two...
The cause of tackling racism.
Democrats, at the very least, won't deny that the BLM riots happened, right? Republicans don't even acknowledge, like, the J6 even occurred. Like, what?
But here you have people who believe they were standing up for democracy. I don't agree that they were right. They shouldn't have been doing it.
Democrats
but there was a double...
But
Julie, hang on, Julie. There was a double standard. There was a double standard in how the different types of protesters got treated. There was.
In what way? Who? Which ones? Also, the BLM riots, you're talking about, like, hundreds or thousands of riots across, like, months. Like, what is even the comparison here?
Piers, if you're suggesting that Democrats cheered on BLM rioters,
no.
They gave them entire cities to destroy.
What?
They gave them whole cities to destroy.
Crazies on the left cheered on BLM rioters, and you're saying...
Oh, careful. He's going to bring up that Kamala Harris tweet.
The Democratic Party cheered them on?
Yes.
Really? You're saying that Nancy Pelosi cheered on people who were rioting and looting during the...
The fact that they're going to say that they cheered on the rioters when that... I don't... Like, again, they had to disavow them to win the election, number one. And number two, these guys are fully on board with a blanket pardon for the J6ers.
Yes.
They were saying it was a peaceful
that's what I'm saying.
You're delusional.
That was a Kenosha, and it was stupid. That was one CNN reporter. That was nobody... That wasn't a mainstream Democratic person. Like...
Yes.
They were saying it was a peaceful
that's what I'm saying.
You're delusional.
Show me where Nancy Pelosi at the time was saying that. Show me where Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi or Kamala Harris or anybody else was saying that.
Too busy getting on her knees.
You know what we need now? You know what we need now? We need a group handshake, and which takes me neatly to the Donald Trump Macron love-in at the Notre Dame reopening. Which, by the way, let's just take a moment to salute the French, who have got a lot of issues right now, but the way they rebuilt Notre Dame, I was there a few months after the fire. I thought it would take 20 years. The fact they've got it back even better than before in 5 years is an amazing feat. I can only compare it that in London, one of our great bridges, Hammersmith Bridge, stopped having cars over it in the same year, 2019, because of cracks in the bridge. And today, it's now at least another 5 years before that bridge will be fixed, which means a minimum of 10 years. They rebuilt Notre Dame in France, and we couldn't get a bridge with cracks in it fixed.
Would you agree with us? Harris did encourage it with saying she'd pay for their legal fees, but that's alternative values, not alternative reality. First of all, Harris retweeted a bail fund. Whether or not somebody's allowed to post bail is at the discretion of a judge. Retweeting a bail fund, I don't think is the same as saying that you support violent rioters. It's not the same thing. It's not. You shouldn't even be allowed to gaslight people into thinking that's the same thing.
In 10 years. I think it's embarrassing for my country. Anyway, that's nothing to do with what I want to talk to you guys about. I want to show a mashup of Trump and Macron.
Does he still try to do that fucking cringe handshake pull? Why are we watching this? God, it feels 1984 in here. I can't tell if he's trying to do this dumb pull thing.
Now, Brian, it is, I mean, it's very.
Would you say the same if someone you're debating on the right has retweeted a J6er bail fund? I think that the instigation for the riots on January 6th and the BLM things are different in kind. So I would already be on a different standard. But number two, supporting somebody on bail, I don't even know if I would comment on it or care. I'm not sure. Bail is different. It's just bail. All bail says is that after your arraignment, you can be out of jail before you have to go to court. That's all bail is. It's not forgiving somebody of charges. You don't automatically, it's not an escape jail from free card. It's not like, that's all bail is.
Funny on one level, the way they arm wrestle for hours on end when they see each other. However, my point watching it, when I watched Trump go into Notre Dame, every eye was on him. He has superstar power. I saw it myself when he first got elected.
Oh, Mark Glazen.
In Davos, when all the world leaders were down there. The moment Trump came in, it was pandemonium. He is the biggest star on the world stage by a country mile. And there's something about America right now getting its swagger back, which I can tell you, in a country like mine, where it feels like the opposite is happening, a lot of people are like, you know what, whatever you think of Trump, whatever comes out of his mouth, all the usual stuff, I quite like the confidence that America now seems to be exuding. And I wish we had a bit of it here.
Well, Pierce, I think if you look at what the rest of the world actually thinks about Donald Trump, the vast majority of them don't view him as some gauzy figure with a lot of swagger. I mean, he has...
Bail is literally bailing out of jail, so you're free to do whatever. Bailing is you posting up collateral so that you don't have to be in jail until your trial. That's what bail is, assuming the judge allows you to even post bail. That's all bail. It doesn't get you out of jail free. It doesn't get you out of prison. It doesn't let you escape accountability.
Very different now.
Negative. He has negative approval.
It's very different to 2016. I can tell you, it has definitely changed. I don't agree with that reading of it. I've spoken to a few senior politicians in various countries, and they've learned.
You don't support the CEO killer, right? Why not start a bail fund for him? You don't have to support someone to start a bail fund. Why would I start I don't know if I would ever start a bail fund for anybody. What a fucking retarded question. If people want to start a bail fund for him also, I think it's cringe because people aren't trying to bail him out because they think that he's innocent. They're trying to bail him out because they think that killing CEOs is based. But also, if he posts bail and the judge grants it, then it's on bail. Whatever. It's part of our legal system. If you want to post bail until you stand trial or whatever, that's part of our system.
And to deal with Trump and accept what he is, good, bad, and ugly. And there is a respect for the leadership that he shows. I mean, if you try and think about Kamala Harris and the kind of leadership she exuded, there's just no comparison. You look at Biden. He can
this is complete.
Biden can't even stay awake.
This is
it's
bizarre analysis. But this is bizarre analysis. This is what you think about Kamala Harris and conversations that you've had with like 2 or 3 people. This doesn't reflect the vast majority of the world. And all of the actual data that we have from the rest of the world in terms of their views on Donald Trump shows the exact opposite.
Okay, let me bring in Andrew on that. I think America has its swagger back. Now, Trump has to deliver, and he knows that. I spoke to him last week, and he knows the challenge ahead of him, but he also knows he's got a chance to really reset his legacy and become a transformative and potentially great president. I think he's got a great chance to do that. It'll be down to him and his team, but I do think that.
Well,
but I do just think when I watched him in Notre Dame...
Reset his legacy? Does that mean his legacy right now is really bad, or...?
I was like, he's back and he's swaggering, and America looks like it's got someone in charge who actually does want to make America great again, and people are feeling it.
Yeah, well, I mean, to just listen to the analysis from the lib on the panel, he says immediately, well, yeah, how could he come up with such an analysis based on only talking to 2 or 3 people when the whole world hates this guy? Like, he's talked to the whole world, right?
There's literally polling data from how the world viewed Trump and America. I'm pretty sure like every country but like 2 had a pretty negative view of him in the United States under Trump's rule. But okay, let me grab a Red Bull. Hold on.
Suddenly, Piers Morgan's anecdotal evidence isn't good, but his is. He's talked to nobody.
It's not
yes,
my
of
anecdotal.
Course. Hang on, man. Hang on. It's not your turn. It's not your turn, Lib. Calm down, Lib. So anyway, listen. It's very, very clear to me.
You are
it's
so,
very stop.
I don't know how you think.
Let me get it out. Can I get it out? Can I get it out before you start?
Go ahead. Hear yourself talk. Go ahead.
So anyway, I'm trying to.
This is in 2020. How people around the world see the U.S. and Donald Trump in 10 charts. This is views of the United States. Generally, people have a favorable view, although barely. Nice. Confidence in U.S. President Trump was down 50 points from Obama. It came up to 31 points in 2019. Many countries, younger people view the U.S. more favorably. The UK had more favorable views of Donald Trump. Almost like he was tied to the Brexit stuff. Or the same sentiment was, but even that was 32%. Trump received the most negative marks among 5 world leaders. Major foreign policies are unpopular globally. I don't know with this idea that everybody loves Trump. It's literally just like you just say whatever. That's it. I just have to keep that in mind. Remember, always remember that. You just say whatever. It's always memes. You just say whatever the fuck. It's all theater. It's all a meme. It's all theater. It's all a meme.
Still talking. So anyway, the point is like, no, of course, there's a lot of swagger to Donald Trump. The American people know that. That's why they overwhelmingly voted for the guy. That's why he got the popular vote. That's why he's winning across the board. I love how important the popular vote is now. Remember what I said before, is that things that didn't matter before, Republicans will always cite them when they're in their favor. That's why I said, like, coming into Donald Trump's presidency. So before, Republicans would say things like, oh, GDP and the markets don't represent the economy. Wait for it over the next 4 years as the economy is rebounding and will continue to rebound, right? As the GDP gets higher, as the markets climb higher, all of a sudden, all these people that said that GDP and the S&P 500, that these indexes don't matter. Now they're going to be citing them like crazy. And you hear it here, right? Remember, Republicans would always say a popular vote doesn't matter. Who cares what people in California think? That's not how our country works. But now, all of a sudden, now the popular vote, we got to bring it up every single time, you know? Voted for the guy. That's why he got the popular vote. That's why he's winning across the board. People overwhelmingly across the globe do actually love this guy. They like watching him.
Says who? Where?
They like listening to him talk. They like hearing his speeches. They enjoy this guy. When you say America's got a swagger back, that's exactly right. Donald Trump represents